Okay, so this is what we got. This is what the congregation said were the biggest challenges in our world today. So there's health concerns, there's relationships, safety and security. That's something we all value, right? So political unrest, we have financial problems. There's so many different things. Some people even said that, I'll just put it here, some people even said that Patrick is really creating some problems within the church. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to consider there.
You know, I once heard someone say that France disowned God the day that they implemented the social security system. That after that point, people just didn't think they needed God anymore.
What are you talking about? Why are you going back to your French roots again?
Well, contrairement à une goutte d'eau qui perd son identité quand elle rejoint l'océan.
Oui, je vous en prie. Hein?
Okay, let me translate contra
No,
what?
no.
Contraband?
No Google Translator. We'll use Celeste Translator
Okay.
this time. Unlike a drop of water that loses its identity when it rejoins the ocean.
Wow, the only thing ocean I can think of that we're like a drop of water in is sin when I look at this. When I start to think about the world and its concerns, I just think like, what's wrong with us as a world?
Yeah, obviously all of these things are legitimate problems, and for some people, like these cause real serious difficulties in their lives, but there's a greater problem, a more universal problem than that, and it's our broken relationship with God as a result of our sin against Him.
So I wonder if I could do something like this. I wonder if I could just take this list and S, I, N, sin.
Yeah,
Does that work better? Well, it actually just makes it really hard to read. But
yeah, it's true, a little less specific, but I don't know. Probably we need to get you a marker about like 6 inches wide. You could write it there, be a little bit clearer.
Well, you know what the problem is? I think about, like, we just came through elections in our country, right? Mm-hmm. And our culture has this idea that the government's going to take care of everything, right? So we just pick the right government, they'll take care of us. But they could never do anything about the real problem, which is our sin.
Mm-hmm. Which is a universal problem.
That makes me think of Romans 5:12. Sin came into the world through one man, and death through sin. And so death spread to all men because all sinned.
It's crazy to think that it all started with one person, with the first man created, Adam. And because of him, sin has spread to the entire human race through our sin nature.
Yeah, it started with Adam, but it continues with us. We continue to be disobedient, and our sin separates us from God. So our Creator God has every right to look at us and to judge us and to punish us eternally for the sin that we've committed against Him.
Clearly that's our greatest problem. Like these things, certainly they affect our lives, but they mean little in comparison to the eternal punishment that we deserve because we've broken and are continually breaking God's law.
So that's one area where Christianity, it stands in stark contrast to other religions, right? So we say in Christianity that we need to be freed from our sin, where other religions say we need to be free from just our self-thoughts or free from even the desire to want anything else.
Or free from imperfection.
Wait a minute, you're kind of a perfectionist yourself.
Yeah, but I'm not a very good one. I'm the kind of person who wants things to be perfect, but I am completely unable to make things perfect. And that's the worst kind of perfectionist.
I wouldn't be too hard on yourself. I think that's actually the only type of perfectionist.
Okay, but some of us have less success than others. You know, I have found one thing, though, to be a good cure for perfectionism.
I don't know what that is, but you should probably tell me, because if we can patent it, we could probably make some money.
It's children, actually. With every child we've had, my standards of cleanliness, for example, have gone down and down and down and then down one more time.
Yeah, so how does that make you feel?
I feel a little crazy.
Yeah, I think sometimes you act a little crazy, but anyways.
Actually, I think I was crazy before we started having kids because of you.
Crazy in love with me?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay. Some religions will teach you that what you really need to do is work hard enough and do enough good things so that you can spend an eternity with whatever their God is, right? So you have to earn your salvation. And some will teach that what you really need to do is just to be free from the desire of anything.
So they're based largely on us and what we personally can do. Whereas I'd say Christianity is based on what Jesus Christ has already done.
Absolutely. The only way to resolve our greatest need is to trust Jesus Christ for our salvation. Then we're free from the slavery of sin and able to live out his purposes in the world.
So we're saved, not based on our own good works, but on his perfect sacrifice. Actually, I really like how it's worded in Colossians 2:13 and 14. Would you mind reading that?
Colossians 2:13, 14. Okay. And you, who are dead in your trespasses and the uncircumcision of your flesh, God made alive together with him, having forgiven us all our trespasses, by canceling the record of debt that stood against us with its legal demands. This he set aside, nailing it to the cross.
So Jesus Christ broke the curse of sin over our lives so that we could be freed from our greatest problem.
Yeah, and this doctrine is a good example of how all of these essential doctrines of Christianity work together, right? So, for example, to believe that our sin is our greatest problem, we need to believe that we have a creator, we need to believe that he's perfect, and he has a plan for us as well.
And we have to hold to the authority of the Bible and what it teaches about God's character and about creation.
Yeah, in order to see our need for salvation, we need to understand that we are sinners. And if we understand that we're sinners, we obviously have some knowledge of the law and our inability to keep that law in our own strength.
That's actually a lot. Like, honestly, it seems like it could be overwhelming for someone to hold all of these beliefs all at once.
It is, and even if somebody didn't know all these things or didn't know they understood these things, they could at least look at their life and say, like, why is all this going on? And there must be some sort of root cause to all these problems.
A fundamental flaw in the human experience that goes deeper than health concerns or relationships or money or politics.
Right, so the question is, like, why do we get sick? Why are governments corrupt? Why is there evil and suffering? The root cause, the fundamental problem is sin in our world.
So Christianity really stands apart as the one religion that's dealing with the root problem. So the doctrine of sin answers our greatest questions, and the doctrine of salvation provides a solution to that great problem.
Yeah, so some people look at Christianity and say, well, this will fix that, or it will fix this, right? And looking at things, it would be like the symptom of a disease, the surface things. But Jesus Christ takes it much further back, and he gives an answer to the root cause, the enslavement to sin, which causes all of these problems.
And praise God for providing the solution to our greatest problem in Jesus Christ.
Okay, so let me review this. The pursuit of religion is often undertaken as a way to find a solution to life's problems. Christianity provides a solution to man's greatest problem. The concept of indwelling sin and its effect on man's relationship with God is an essential doctrine of the Christian faith. Recognizing sin as a man's greatest problem is essential for true Christian faith. Recognizing man's greatest problem drives us to the doctrine of salvation, which says that we do not need to be saved from surface issues, but rather from the enslavement of sin. True Christian faith requires that we see Jesus Christ as our only source of true salvation.
What would you say are your greatest needs and concerns?
Can you see how the root of all these problems is sin?
Pray and thank God for the revelation of your greatest problem, and thank him for providing the solution to your problem through Jesus Christ.
Okay, Celeste, I got a question for you. If our real problem is sin, how do we help the people in our church? Because they always want to hear messages about our health and our relationships. How do we help them see that the real problem is sin?
First, you erase my name. From there.
I guess he didn't like that. Okay, that's just where we're going to start.
Okay, let's start with taking Patrick off the list. We could talk to him in private. But for the rest of the church, what do we do?